Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Dynasty Hotseat, the only Dynasty show that is a certified inferno. And today we're kind of just jonesing a bit. We're seeing what we can do. Is there such a thing as a zero wide receiver draft? There's definitely zero running back. Is there zero wide receiver? Does anyone do it? Is it a good idea? Probably not. Let's find out. Let's have a little fun, shall we? We'll pull up our draft board. Let's go for the hell of it. Let's just pick number one, will we? Let's just start right off the bat. This is a super flex league. We have to start 3 wide receivers in this format as well, just to make it even harder to go zero wide receiver. I'm going to say the same thing that you do for zero running back, which is you don't look at running back until what, round 10, 9, 10? I'm not going to look at any wide receivers until that round. My prediction is this team's going to suck. And there's a reason why no one does it. But luckily, this is a mock, and there's no consequences. So let's see what happens as we start the draft with the best player in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes. Any team with Patrick Mahomes is going to be a pretty decent team. And hey, maybe this will work out like the Chiefs, where Chiefs have gone zero wide receiver for a while and won a couple of Super Bowls doing it. So let's see if it works out for our dynasty team. My instinct here is to just go quarterback, right? If we're not taking wide receiver, let's lock up the most valuable position and be happy with it. And Deshaun Watson falls to us. I'm taking Deshaun Watson all day. We also have an option to take a third quarterback here and really cement that position. But let's not do that. Let's take a nice young wide receiver, or not wide receiver. We can't take any of those. Geez. Let's take a nice young running back because we can't get wide receivers till later. So it's going to be a bit, it's hard to say. Is it going to be a win now team? Is it going to be a bit of a project? It's hard to say, but we can't just take tight ends and quarterbacks. So we're going to have to take some running backs. So let's go with the younger running backs, and hopefully in ensuing drafts, we can fill the wide receiver room with these quality young receivers that we've seen coming out year after year after year. I mean, just look at who's been drafted already. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Waddle, Chris Olave, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson. They've not been in the league that long. So that shows you the caliber of wide receiver that is coming out on a yearly basis. So I'm going to go ahead and take Jahmyr Gibbs. The reason I'm going to take Gibbs is he's young enough that by the time we sort out our wide receiver room and are really ready to contend, Jahmyr Gibbs will still be very fantasy relevant, and we'll be able to use him in our contender team. Am I worried about the wide receivers that are coming off the board? Yeah, because it looks like there's going to be just scraps left. Are there any running backs here that I'm happy to take that will be viable in a few years? No, not really. Already we're seeing, man, this strategy is hard. So I'm thinking I might lean into quarterback again already because that's probably what the value is. The tight ends are there. TJ Hawkinson is there, who I like. I think I might take him with one of these picks. Dalton Kincaid is there, who I love. I think I might see if I can get him a little bit later as well. But for now, I see Kyler Murray there. He is injured. That's fine. We're probably not going to be able to win this year with the caliber of wide receiver that is still available. So I'm happy taking a Kyler Murray and the upside that he has here for sure. And then let's go ahead and lock up an elite tight end in TJ Hawkinson as well. So we have quarterback pretty much settled and sorted for our team now. We've got tight ends. Hopefully, if all goes well, we can have tight end pretty nicely locked up as well. So this makes future planning a lot easier for this team. We know any draft that we go into rookie-wise, we just have to slam wide receiver, right? Because now we've locked up Dalton Kincaid as well. So tight end is locked and loaded for years to come. Quarterback is loaded for years to come. So now we don't need to worry about anything apart from getting running backs and wide receivers. It makes it a lot easier to know what you're going after. It makes it a lot easier for you to know if you want to trade up or trade down in a draft, right? Because you don't need to worry about getting a quarterback or a tight end. You can trade up, you can trade down as you need, right? So let's go ahead and go back to the running back. Well, I see Zach Charbonnet there, who I do really like. Rashad White. I would almost draft Rashad White here just to trade him. But, in the interest of this show where we can't really trade with anyone, we'll not do that. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Zach Charbonnet, who I think will eventually carve himself out a role. It could be whenever it's time to pay Kenneth Walker that he ends up being the guy there as well. It could be a split backfield like we know running backs can be successful with. I'm going to go ahead and lock up another young rookie running back in Zach Charbonnet. Same thought process that I'm having with Gibbs, where I'm having to slightly reach because I want that youth there to make sure that this is a long-form project. But again, this just feels wrong, doesn't it? It feels uneasy to have a long-form project without wide receivers that should be the core of your long-form project, right? It just doesn't feel right to me. Could I be sneaky and take a running back in the 8th and 9th round? Is that too early for zero wide receiver? Sorry, not running back, a wide receiver. Is that too early? I think so. I said 9th or 10th. So let's take Devon Achane in the 8th round. I think round 9, that's an acceptable time, right, to start looking at wide receiver in the zero wide receiver format. And I see a guy right at the top that I'm delighted to take. It's Deontay Johnson, right? Thank goodness he's so criminally undervalued at the moment that I can pick up Deontay Johnson as my first wide receiver in round 9. And now I'm just hitting these guys because we are looking desperate already. So let's have a look. I'm going to stick with the youth here, I think. Right? That would make sense to me. We've got some young running backs. We've got some young tight end there as well. We got, young-ish. Quarterbacks doesn't really matter. They're going to play forever, right? So it doesn't really matter about the age. Let's try and stick with some youth. I was hoping Jonathan Mingo would come back, so maybe we can't really stick with the youth. I don't want to draft Josh Downs or Jalen Hyatt above an Elijah Moore or even a Gabe Davis for that matter. I don't want to do that. Let's go ahead and take Elijah Moore. We have, if you remember, we have already got Deshaun Watson. So hopefully him and Elijah Moore can link up and, start to produce pretty well automatically. And let's go ahead actually and take Sky Moore as well. Let's double up on the Moores, keeping that team nice and young. Sky Moore. I can't believe Rashee Rice is being taken above Sky Moore actually in ADP. Andy Reid's system notoriously hard to play in year one. Sky Moore, all the hype coming out of camp is Sky Moore looks great. So I'm happy to take Sky Moore here in the 11th round. And that means we do have 3 wide receivers in our team and locked in. I mean, the rest of the team looks pretty good, but man, my overall feeling of this is there's a reason why this isn't a thing. The team feels unbalanced. It doesn't feel right. I have a lot of sort of nice players, but I just don't feel like it's going to peak at the same time. And all these guys are going to be at the height of their powers at the same time. So I feel like I'm reaching a lot, I'm stretching a lot for different people. I'm taking a lot of punts, a lot of chances. I don't really like it, to be honest. And I mean, we'll just continue to do that. We'll just continue to take punts, right? We'll take Jalen Reed, complete punt. Because what else can we do here? Do we take Dell? I mean, that would just be completely tanking the draft. So let's go ahead and take a guy like Rashad Penny. Rashad Penny here can come in and fill in if Zach Charbonnet, doesn't quite work out. And yeah, we are a little bit thinner at running back. So let's take in Penny, someone that can slot in quite nicely to this team. And we've got 5 rounds to go. And I got to be honest, guys, I don't really know what to do. Like, I'm feeling this draft hasn't gone well. I'm feeling like I'm kind of pissing into the wind a little bit here. My back's up against it. I don't like the team, really. It's got a lot of nice pieces on paper. This is interesting. Leave in the comments if you want. What do you think about this? Is this a strategy that, for some reason you've seen something in it and you're like, oh, I might try that or I might try that? Because I'm struggling right now with it. So Let's go another punt with Cedric. No, we're not going to go Cedric Tillman. We already have Elijah Moore, don't we? So let's not do that. Let's take Wan'Dale Robinson, though, a guy that looked good last year. Hopefully he can stay healthy, and let's back him up with, goodness me, Jerick McKinnon. Yeah, why not? Jerick McKinnon, a guy very valid in the passing game, and this looks like a sort of a productive struggle type of team for sure. So we might want to sell Jerick McKinnon as soon as we see him continuing that pass catching role that he has. And let's see if we can now continue with the last couple of picks to bolster this wide receiver room. We've got two tight ends. We don't really need to worry about another tight end. So let's continue to take some of these young guys like a Michael Wilson, like Keyshawn Boutte as well, who is there. Let's take some of these guys again, hoping that one of them is gonna pan out for us and beat the ADP, which is kind of what we're wanting to do with these wide receivers at the minute. We're hoping an Elijah Moore, a Sky Moore, is someone that outproduces their ADP and finally comes into their own in the NFL here. But the odds are really stacked against them. It's much harder to do that at wide receiver than it is to at running back, to be honest. And let's go ahead. Last pick. Let's take a real flyer while we scroll down a little bit. Hey, there's K. Dotton. Let's take K. Dotton. I think he's going to have a good season this year. Let's lock him in as a third tight end. Why the hell not, right? So let's see how this zero wide receiver mythical strategy goes. Patrick Mahomes at 1-1. I wish we ended it there. We've got Jahmyr Gibbs and Zach Charbonnet running back. Not that strong. Deontay Johnson, Elijah Moore, and Sky Moore as starting wide receivers. Pretty bad. TJ Hawkinson at tight end with Dalton Kincaid there as well. That's pretty good, right? Devon Achane is there. That's not bad. Deshaun Watson and Kyler Murray. That's the real strength of this team, right? An excellent core at quarterback. Real good. And then we got, a big load of shite, guys, right? Let's be honest. Reed and Penny and Robinson and McKinnon and Wilson and Boutte and K. Dotton and yeah. Don't do this. That's bad. It's a bad idea. Maybe I mess it up, right? Maybe people do this, but man, it just seems like a good way to lose some money. So someone's got to do it. I've taken the bullet here. Some things aren't meant to work, obviously. Maybe it works from different positions, but I'm not giving you 12 videos of zero wide receiver from these positions. So that was excruciating. That deserves a little like and a subscribe, right? Putting myself through that physical torture of having to do that terrible, terrible strategy. Hopefully, you're smart and you've watched to the end and haven't seen it and gone off and tried it, right? So well done you if you've stayed to the end. And in case you're ever thinking about zero wide receiver, for the love of God, don't do it. One thing you should do is remember that for anything Dynasty you need to know, keep it locked right here on the Certified Inferno. We'll see you next time.